Hey, what's up guys? I thought I would do a short video to introduce the car and kind of get the channel going. I've posted up a few videos already on a few little things I've been doing, but I thought this would be a good way to introduce the car and introduce the channel. So let's get started. So it is a 1996 Honda Civic DX 5-speed. I bought it off of the original owner out in Seattle, and now it currently resides in Montana. When I purchased it, it had 56,000 original miles, and that has been verified via Carfax as well as Washington State Registry. Their smog checks are every 2 years, and so I was able to verify the actual mileage. The original owner took great care of this car. When I got it, it was in great shape. She probably over-serviced it. With 56,000 miles, nothing should have needed to be done except for oil changes. But whoever she was taking it to was doing more than they needed to for a Honda Civic. But that's a good thing, I guess. This car is super clean inside and out. The paint is in great shape. The only thing I really had to do is when I received it, I decontaminated it, did a clay bar, and then did a light polish with M205 on a white pad, and that took about 90% of the light scratches and marring and cobwebbing out. There were still a few that were left that were deeper that I just did not feel necessary to chase. This car being 24 years old, I did not want to chase these little tiny scratches that you can barely see on a silver metallic car like this anyways. And so to preserve as much clear coat as I could, I stopped there. It was topped with a generic poly synthetic sealer, and then since then it's just been maintained with top coats of off-the-shelf ceramic stuff. So again, this car is garaged. It never is driven in the rain. It doesn't see snow. So the products that I can find easily do the job really, really well. All right, let's check out the interior. Again, just like the exterior, very well taken care of. There are no stains or rips or tears in any of the interior, front or back. One of the common wear marks on the Honda Civic, especially the EGs and EKs, are the bolsters here really take a beating and end up tearing or ripping, and you can see this is in really good condition. I did add the OEM Civic floor mats not too long ago, so I have those front and back. But as you can see, it is in great condition, and I was lucky enough to have that rear deck lid. Most of those get taken out or people toss them, and they're, I think, discontinued. So overall, this is in really good condition. The only thing I've done to the interior so far is I swapped out the CX cluster for an EX one, but was able to I was able to switch over the speedo so I could retain the actual mileage. And right now it's currently reading 60,445. I did add the Civic Type R gauge bezel. I think that looks great. And other than that, on the inside, I just have an AEM wideband that I am using just to monitor air fuel ratio. I have it mounted via a suction cup that I got off eBay or Amazon, and I think it works well there. I was a little hesitant to do one of the Autometer or Blocks gauge pods because I don't have a second gauge at the moment, and I didn't want one blank, and I'm not sure what my second gauge will be. I thought about maybe using this slot, but I figured this works well. It's not permanent, and I actually like the way it looks and sits right there. So I do have the Circuit Hero shifter plate along with the Hybrid Racing D&B short shifter, and on top of that is just the Skunk 2 shift knob. So I like it. The only downfall to it, I would say, is yes, it is cold in the colder seasons and it is warm when it's hot outside, but not a deal breaker for me. Other than that, again, everything is in great shape. Laptop's in here for tuning the Honda data. So as far as the suspension setup goes, it's a very simple setup. I'm using the Skunk 2 sleeved coilovers along with some Coney orange non-adjustable struts and springs. Very basic, very simple, and it does the job really well. Again, not a race car, not a drag car, so I don't need all of those features that come with a more expensive setup, and this does the job. I'm also using the K-tuned lower control arm as well as their upper control arm with the camber adjustment. Those come with new polyurethane bushings, and all the other bushings have been replaced with energy suspension bushings. All right, so let's talk about the wheel and tire setup. These are the Koenig Hypergrams in a 15 by 7.5 plus 35 offset. They are in the gunmetal gray, which I absolutely love. They're wrapped in the Hankook Ventus V2 Concept 2s. This tire is probably the cheapest tire I could find on eBay when I was wrapping the SI wheels. Unfortunately, it has its limits pretty quickly on the street, so the goal is to upgrade to something more aggressive like a Federal 595R or maybe a Toyo 888R. But for now, they do the job, and eventually I will upgrade. These wheels only come in at 11.5 pounds, so the lightweight was one of the attractive features for me, and I just think they look really nice on the car. So as far as the engine goes, this is a completely bone stock high compression B20 block with a rebuilt or freshened up GSR head. I had the valves cut as well as the valve stem seals replaced, and then just hot tanked and cleaned and reassembled. Other than that, everything else is stock Honda. I did change out the water pump, obviously, and a timing belt, but for the most part, this is just a stock B20 VTEC. I'm running the K-tuned 3-inch velocity stack that is attached to just a generic 3-inch eBay intake tube that I coated with VHT wrinkle. I think it looks great in there. The radiator setup's super simple. I did not want to go with an aftermarket aluminum one. I just felt like that was too flashy for what I wanted, and more than anything, it was just overkill. So this is a Koyo Rad radiator that would be found in a 94 Del Sol VTEC. It does have the larger diameter upper and lower intake tubes for the wider B series radiator hoses, so that was a plus too. And it also just allowed me to retain the use of the stock fan. I did not want an aftermarket one in there, and I don't need it, and keep the stock location of the overflow tank. So it works well. It's a copper core, and I know that's not as efficient as aluminum, but for my needs, it does the job. We've had many 100-degree days out here, and I can go 85 on the freeway, and I don't run into an overheating issue. As far as the drivetrain and transmission, it is a completely stock GSR transmission that is just using a competition clutch light and flywheel along with their stage 1. It has plenty of bite for this build and does the job quite well. I was worried that I would initially get a bad tranny with the swap, but that wasn't the case. This one has no grinds, no pop outs, and I don't beat on it, so it should last quite some time. As far as some dress up things that I've done, obviously you can see I'm running the Speed Factory titanium hardware on the valve cover, and I also have their titanium fender hardware on both sides. I added these little black nylon washers under there. I just think it kind of sets it off, gives it a little more contrast. Other than that, as far as dress up, nothing major. I did replace every exterior bolt on the engine that you would see with a factory Honda bolt. So VTEC solenoid, distributor bolts, fuel bolts, the screws on top of the intake air temperature, those are all brand new Honda ones, and I think it just makes it look that much better. I spent a lot of time on the GSR intake manifold, just cleaning it, polishing it, I used a Dremel with some Scotch-Brite wheels and took my time and made it, I think, back to new. Did the same with the fuel rail. I don't need an aftermarket one as of now. I think it looks great. I did have the fuel injectors sent off to the fuel injector clinic, and they were able to flow test them, clean them, and sent them back to me. So those are practically brand new. So as far as fuel, it's still on the stock pump, stock regulator, just a real basic setup. A few people recommended that I run the oil catch can off the back of the B20 since it doesn't come with one from the factory. So I decided to get the Speed Factory naturally aspirated kit that they offer, and I think that was a smart move to release some of that crankcase pressure. It doesn't collect much oil at all. I think in the bottom right now there's maybe a half of an inch. So I've been told it's most likely gonna get there if you are really beating on it or in a race application. So just another peace of mind, and I think it does a good job. So I decided to use the Rywire VTEC kit that they supply or offer, I guess. Very simple. You just have to wire in a few pins into the ECU, and then with that you can end up using the stock DX wiring harness, which I am. I massaged it a little bit and removed some things that I don't need, and rerouted the fuel injector plugs to come up from the manifold, and kind of loomed some of the other ones to just clean it up a little bit. I eventually do want to get some sort of tucked wiring harness, whether that's a Rywire or a Wireworks, but that's down the road. But this seems to work fine, and so I'm gonna keep it that way for the time being. I'm also running the Run Hard Industry power cable kit that he offers. This is a phenomenal kit, and he's such a cool dude. He's always been helpful with customer service and any type of troubleshooting. So this is a fantastic kit. It comes with the battery cables along with your grounds for the valve cover and your transmission mount down there. So check him out. Cool dude, been in the game for a long time, so support him. As you can see, I have the K-tuned battery tie down there. I'm also running the JB tuned flexible clutch line. This is a great little addition. It gets rid of the rigid lines that kind of consume this area here and route around the back. Cleans up the firewall and just makes it look much nicer. I have not had a problem with this, with any leaking. That's a great product too, so go check him out as well. This was put together using the Golden Eagle VTEC conversion kit. So it comes with the dowel pins, a sandwich plate in the back, head gasket, and the supply line from the block up to the head. So that was a great piece to use. I also used ARP head studs, but other than that, it is 100% stock on the inside. The engine management is a Honda S300 V3. That's why the laptop's in the car, and I've routed the cable to go under the floor mat, and it sits nicely out of the way there. So I really love the flexibility and the adjustability of the Honda. It's a cool little piece, and I seem to learn more and more about it each time I drive the car and play with it. So by no means am I a professional tuner, but the support on their website has been fantastic, and you kind of just learn as you go. So that's been a really good piece in addition. There's that hybrid shift knob. Gotta have the sanitizer, COVID. So one of the things I feel is a telling sign of a car that's not in great shape or sits outside a lot is looking under here in the spare tire well, and this one is in great shape. Yeah, there's a little bit of dust down here, but I've seen them where there's water and rust and gunk and pine needles and leaves and such, and this is the exact opposite. So this car was really well taken care of, and it makes me, or it allows me to sleep easy to know that I got a good one. Originally I was getting water in the back of this after washing it, and it turned out to be the taillight gaskets that were just old and kind of falling apart. So a quick fix of both of those, and that solved the problem. So no more water in the back. And the deck lids are rare and hard to find, and I believe they're discontinued, and this one is in really good shape. A little wear there, but I didn't have to do much to it other than just lightly clean it with a microfiber and some soap. So it's in really good shape. So that's going to wrap this video up. I appreciate you guys watching. I just thought it'd be a good thing to kind of introduce the car, so you guys know what I've all done to it. And if you have any questions, drop me a comment. I don't know what the vision is for the channel. It's definitely not going to be a how-to. There's plenty of those out there, but more of a way to document my build and my progress on the car, and just something else to do. So if it helps one person, I guess I'm doing something right. So anyways, like, subscribe, and keep your eyes open for the next one.